If you find this video, your favorite painting brushes probably already ruined like this. In this video, let's bring them back to life. Before we start cleaning, it is worth to check if your brushes are actually salvageable. If your brushes are already like this, just throw it away. To inspect the brushes, I might just have the perfect tools for that. So BenQ sent me this. It's a very interesting camera system. You have the controlling unit and the camera itself. This macro lens, I can just magnetically attach this as a light here. And then hit the record button. So that's what makes the brush unusable. And we can even go closer by rotating this. You see a lot of broken hair in it. The paint will dry just before the ferrule, and that's what ruining your brush. To make these brushes useful again, we need to clean it, of course. So the method I'm gonna use will work on both synthetic and natural hair brushes. And most of the time, all we need is brush soap. You don't have to choose, just buy this one. And you need a microfiber cloth. You know, like brushes like this, it's not that dirty, and you're gonna need some water. And then we can just use this soap. So we got some paints there. See that it's already coming off very nicely. What I'm gonna use is a leftover of cured resin. Get some water and then gently brush on this. And we can do this as many times as we need until we get the paints off. Now you can see like it's already much cleaner compared to what it looks like before, but it's in a very bad shape, but we can fix that later. For brushes with severe paint buildup, we need something more powerful to dissolve the paint. So what we're gonna use is this thing. And all these commercial available brush cleaners or airbrush cleaners, the effective components, most of them is this one. The reason I'm using this instead of, let's say, alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, is that first off, most of the acrylic paints won't be cleaned as well in alcohol compared to this. And secondly, is like alcohol will make your brush really, really dry. Also, it will, you know, for me, it irritates my skin more than, let's say, this one. This one is much milder. Also, it's relatively cheap. You can have a large bottle like this for less than £10, which can serve you a long time. And also, additionally, you can mix your own airbrush cleaner and even acrylic paint thinners of your own. So probably I'm gonna do that next time. The most difficult part of the cleaning process is to deal with the dried out paints just in front of the ferrule. As you can see, these dried paints are accumulated really deep inside of the bristle, and they are pushing away the bristles in different directions so that you cannot form a tip anymore. So what should we do? First off, we need to loosen up the paints a little bit. For this job, I need to soak the paints in the solutions I just mentioned for about 15 to 20 minutes. Next step, let's put these brushes in the ultrasonic cleaner. If you don't have one, it's worth your investment. Add it sparingly. Maybe just 30% of it will be enough. As you can see, the paints have been shaken loose and coming out of the brush. However, for the most stubborn paints, even the ultrasonic cleaner cannot deal with it properly. All we have to do is to prepare a small amount of pure solution and start to gently wiggle our brushes inside of this cup. The paints are starting to dissolve already. You can use this method on both synthetic and natural hair brushes. Now we're gonna see how this brush behaves. It's no longer pushing the bristles away. It's forming an edge. And you see like most of the paint in the bottom of the brush has already been washed away. We have cleaned all these brushes, and now it's time to restore them to its optimal state. The restoration for the synthetic brushes and the natural hair brushes is slightly different, so let's start with the synthetic ones. They are less durable and they are more prone to shape changes to the natural hair ones. So we can indeed use hot water to reshape a bit, but it can only do so much. So we can just dip this thing into the hot water and started to reshape it. And then shape it really quickly. Some of these brush bristles will return to its own shape, but some of these hairs probably you can't really get it into its original shape. So what we're gonna do is just cut it. The hot water method is not as useful for these natural hair brushes compared to the synthetic ones, is because you need higher temperature. So the normal, the hair straightener or the hairdresser, irons, the operating temperature will be somewhere between 180 degrees Celsius to 220. That is much higher than, say, just boiling water. So if you have one of those irons, you can try it out. That will work, just like how this thing will work with our hairs. For everyday usage, if you already use one of these brush cleaning soaps, they already contain ingredients to conditioner brush, so it's fine. But to make things even better, you can also use hair conditioners, and they are actually better than these type of things. So what you do is very simple. So get some of this hair conditioner, just get it on your brush gently. For synthetic ones, you don't have to condition them at all. I mean, it won't do anything. Let it sit for a little while, and then we're gonna rinse it away. Nice, beautiful. Hair conditioners, they can sometimes even repair those really dried and frayed bristles. Sometimes it's will outperform your expectation. So try that to make your natural hair brushes last longer and serve you better each time. The last step is the gum arabic. This is how you're going to use it. So you dip your cleaned and conditioned brush into this gel. Before it cures, use your finger to shape the bristles into a pointy shape like that. And then you can just leave it aside to let it dry. And when the gum dries, it will create this very hard shell and hold the shape of the brush. And it is really hard. So, it hurts. And when you want to use the brush, what you do is just to put it in water and it will resolve very easily. It will have this pointy shape maintained. After finishing all the steps above, here's the final results. What a huge difference we've made, and all these brushes are usable again. Some of the brushes, even after a deep cleaning and conditioning, they are still gonna split and won't hold their pointy tip. The reason is mostly because there are broken hairs in the brush. So you can see this brush from Citadel, there are many broken hairs, and these shorter hairs just pushing away the bristles in different directions, and that's why it's not forming a tip. Let's see another example. This is another brush, fairly clean, but all these weird shaped bristles. This just can't be fixed, so it's not worth your time trying to get it into a working condition. For those brushes we put aside and determine they are not worth cleaning and restoration, you don't have to throw them away. So you can, with some simple modifications, you can still make them useful. As a starter, for example, like this brush. So I can just cut it down. So now what you get is a really nice dry brush. You can use it for weathering, creating chipping effect, or just dab on the paints or something to create different effects. With all the tips above, hopefully you can bring your old brushes back to life. To make your brushes serve you longer, here are some additional tips for you. First, cleaning your brush as soon as you finish painting. Don't fret of getting the paints into the ferrule. It's not the end of the world. You can still clean it, as I just showed you. Second, have different brushes for different type of paint. For example, I have these fine painting brushes labeled here, and they are just for painting acrylics and watercolor. And also, if I paint something like abrasive paint, like metallic ones or texture paints, I use some dedicated cheaper brushes for them, as they will wear down your brushes really quickly. Also remember, our hobby time is too precious, so if you find the brush is unsavable, just buy a new one. That's about everything. So if you like the content, leave a comment and hit the like button, or better still, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.